Hello and welcome to another episode of The Sacred Rainbow Warrior. So I was thinking about the first the first video I did about Jesus and him not coming to save us. And I was watching back my video and I realized how miserable I sounded and how quiet I sounded. And I was thinking, what is that? I'm so knowledgeable, got full of so much wisdom. Me and my girlfriend speak to hours about all of this stuff, all the spiritual stuff, all of the psychological stuff, all the emotional stuff, all the things that make us who we are and how we can overcome them, and all of the spiritual events that come in. Just there's just so much animal wisdom, shamanism, you name it, right? I can speak about anything because I can decode anything, and yet I found myself being quiet and silent. And so I realize I'm going to do a series on censorship because I have censored myself. And I'm going to talk about religion. I'm going to talk about violence. And today I'm going to talk about free speech. What is the difference between free speech and free speech? So, our current society, the way we currently view what free speech is that you can say whatever you like. And there is a truth to that, but that's not free speech. Free speech is the freedom to speak the voice of love. So what comes to mind when I speak about that is what is a holy man, right? So a holy man, I've had to make notes on this because we've got so much wisdom to discuss around this. So a holy man is someone. So I'm talking about the I've spoken about this before, the prophecy of the rainbow, the sacred rainbow warrior, right? Now, what makes up a holy man and what makes up the rainbow of what a man is? And it begins with integrity through divine purpose, right? Integrity, then etiquette. Let's think about it. A holy man is someone who is not a priest or religious. A holy man is someone who is divine in his sovereignty. He's a divine being. He's chose to be here, to be present in his heart, and he follows the will of God. And what is the will of God? It's well, I'm going to explain it through the wisdom of the rainbow. So it's integrity through divine purpose, etiquette through the lust and love for life, courtesy through creation, and creation is also another representation of the feminine, the womb, the creation, because there's a goddess of creation and there's God in his own forms of creation. I see he's he and she, but you know what I mean. And then there is, so I'm moving from the lower chakras here. So integrity, etiquette, courtesy, justice, fighting for justice, truth and justice, devotion, devotion to love and purity, splendor, the splendor of the voice and the ability to reclaim. And then there's the crown, which is about authenticity and magnificence, the splendor and magnificence of your divinity, your holiness, your sovereignty. And what is sovereignty? Sovereignty is your right to be here. And censorship takes that away. If you think about it, sovereignty is taken away when we're born, when we sign a what do you call it when you have a birth certificate? A birth certificate. You're literally the day you're born, you're signed into the system. That takes away your sovereignty. And this is how they get us. They cap us. They take us off at the top and off at the bottom so that we can't be here because it's I'm going to explain it again through the wisdom of the rainbow because that's how I know it. When you when you consolidate, not consolidate, when you expand, it's really difficult to explain. When you purify the colors in your body, the rainbow, there is still an enormous amount of work to do because there is a disconnection. There's a disconnection through cutoff. So the way that is done is through dogma, religious capping. If you notice priests, they wear a cap on their crown. That's to prevent the divine consciousness of humanity. And there is a cutting off from source, which is our great mother Gaia, and this is the Earth Star chakra. And what this does is it cuts us off from our senses. So I've put in the title Censorship versus Censorship. And this is what censorship is in the dark kind of it. It cuts us off from our senses because the voice, which is the voice of sanctity, is really the expression of who we are. It comes from deep, deep, deep in the earth, but it gets suppressed and suppressed and suppressed. And I've made a note that I mean, how many times do you see on YouTube now hearing the same voice over annotating all these videos because people are using AI? Why are people using AI voices when they could be using their own voice? It's because of this censorship. People are afraid to express who they truly are. They're afraid to express their voice. And I've had to go through this, and it is utterly terrifying when your voice has been suppressed and your sexuality has been suppressed because it is linked to your sexuality. It comes from deep, deep, deep in there. And the for me personally, the suppression of my voice came through violence, and I'm going to do another video on that, on how violence is essentially silence. And the suppression of the voice comes in so many different ways. It comes through perversion. It comes through dogma, like I said. It comes through destruction. It comes through being outcasted to make you feel like you're not welcome. There's just endless ways on how they um, cause us to forget who we are, to forget our voice and silence ourselves. And it's all a deep manipulation of senses, sense of smell, the sense of sight, the sense of hearing, the things we hear, we see, and smell. It's really deep rooted, deep state manipulation of our senses. And what it does is it creates the distortion of narcissism where we feel shame in speaking up or saying the wrong thing because we're afraid of being punished or humiliated. And that links back to sexual abuse, because sexual abuse isn't just rape or physical sexualization. It's the humiliation of who you are. It's humiliation of your sexuality. You know, say for example, you are bullied and you're a woman and you're told you have small breasts, or a man you're told you have a small penis, something like that. That's sexual abuse, and that puts a like a restriction around the voice. It's essentially enslavement of the voice, and so it's restricted like a dog collar, like again like priests wear, and it causes us to so much fear of our own power that we censor ourselves because it's all about mirroring and oneness. If someone is trying to censor us, they're censoring us out of fear, right? And why is that? It's because the voice is so powerful. It can change realities. Imagine if everybody spoke their truth. And I don't mean the truth of narcissism and just saying what you feel like it is on the internet where everyone's just abusing each other. I mean the truth of your heart. And that's really difficult to do, you know. I've spent the last 5 years ceremonially sat opposite a woman, confessing all of the things I betrayed within myself and I hated about myself, and also about the feminine, and how I wanted to forgive myself and move past all that shame. And I found the most difficult out of all of them was the creation, so the sacral chakra, so everything to do with life force and sexuality, and the voice, which is the expression of that sexuality. And it all comes through deep vibration, and the masculine has had such a deep severance from his heart compared to the feminine that his vibration of truth comes from logic and the mind, which is all a form of control. Logic is a form of control because the truth comes from the heart, because truth is love, and love is the vibration of the heart and of, well, for lack of a better term, God, of consciousness, the universe. And so when we feel into that untapped, unlimited source of love, then we can speak the truth. But if we constrict that and put it into a box, that's logic. It's like, well, science says only this happens, and religion only says this happens, and politics says this happens, and the internet says this happens. So I can only speak my truth from this container. And it's bullshit. It's bullshit. And it creates an enormous restriction on speaking the truth of who we are, and it causes this constriction of shame, and so we crucify ourselves. And that's something I'm going to speak about in the next video as well, about the crucifixion of love. Why 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 do they have massive crucifixes in churches of Jesus pinned to a cross? Think about that. Think about that. I'll give you the answer in my video about that. It's disgusting, right? So the the vibration, it's all about vibration, right? If you're speaking from a vibration of I know better, or trigger, or shame, or anger, then you're not speaking from love, right? And love is truth. So there's so much derogatory judgment around the power of love and all of this nonsense. But truly, right, what has got us in this place isn't love, it's fear. And this is where censorship comes in. You censorship love. And what's coming is this new armada of tribes. You know, the spiritual community are kind of close to it, but they were a bit off about creating new tribes. But it's not about, going back to the Stone Age and wearing hippie clothes. It's not. But it does come back to making our own stuff, making our own clothes, because, today they're made by robots or slaves in China or the Middle East, and that creates a really dull vibration on the clothes. And so, yeah, a bit of a tangent there, but coming back to nature is essentially what I'm trying to say. So growing our own vegetables, learning how to make things again. I mean, we've made ourselves dumb because we've killed our heritage. And this is all to do with censorship. You think about shamanism. Why is shamanism so hijacked, and why there are only a few really good shamans in the whole wide world? Because a shaman is a pagan, and we all know who hates the pagans and has tried to kill the pagans. And why is that? Because they give reverence and worship to our mother Gaia, and that is seen as blasphemy. And what is blasphemy? Well, blasphemy is essentially the censorship of love. That's what it is. So free speech, right? I've mentioned this before about the masculine and how when the masculine speaks up his truth, in the past, I'm not talking about now. I'm not painting a target on me. Is you look at Martin Luther King, he spoke the truth. John Lennon, he spoke the truth. John F. Kennedy, he spoke the truth. Bob Marley, he spoke the truth and did peace concerts. What's the one thing they all had in common? They were all shot. Yes. And this is the power of the voice of the masculine that has been so deeply suppressed, so deeply suppressed. And I'm going to do videos on how that happened. But now I'm keeping it short because I could talk about this forever. So I'm going to break it up into smaller videos, because I know that these days people don't have don't have an attention span longer than 30 seconds. That's why we have shorts, and that is to do with being doped by dopamine, so that we don't receive the coding and the truth of what people are trying to deliver. Lots to learn. Tune in next time. Thank you. Bye bye.